757 House Whisperers Show. Thank you guys for joining us again every week from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. You can catch our live shows every single week on Facebook Live. We've got them re-recorded on Spotify and all the other podcast platforms. If you want to go back and listen to some old shows, it's what we promise you is we're going to have a good time. Hopefully you do too. Got a couple of my boys here tonight, just kind of hanging out, ready to answer questions about problems in your houses. We all know you have them. So don't think by not calling in, the house problems are going to go away. Stop ignoring them. Call and find out what the problems are in your house. This is a public service announcement show that I'm the founder and host of, trying to figure out a way how we could give back to our industry, but also give back to the people that have given us so much in business over these last couple of years. And we like to just answer any questions about problems from your house, from all the way from the top of the roof, all the way to the crawl space and the icky, gory, nasty, funky crawl spaces that we have in Hampton Roads. These 96 weeks of 97 degrees, you have got some swampy crawl spaces, I'm sure. So any questions from gutters to siding, things that you think are not right in your house, I want you to call in, ask questions about what's going on in your house. And I promise you, we will tell you what the problems are in your house. So
what's that phone number? I'm
going to go around 627-7979 to remind you the number to call in, 627-7979.
Lines are open.
Lines are open now. Do not wait till the last 5 minutes of the show. We try and get everybody in, but I know 2 weeks ago, we had 3 people call with 2 minutes left, and it's very hard we want to be able to answer all the questions. The coolest part about this show is all of us for 30 plus years have been serving the public, answering questions, figuring out problems in houses, telling people their problems one-on-one. This is a way that we can give back, that we're not just answering your question, but there are thousands of listeners listening that are having similar problems than what you're having at your house. And by us answering your question live on the air, we are able to help thousands of listeners in the area of the 757, helping them figure out their problems in their house. So you're not only helping yourself, you're also helping your friends and neighbors. So thank you all for listening. I am ready to introduce myself. I am Chuck Worley with Worley's Home Services. We do heating and air conditioning, electrical, plumbing, crawl space encapsulations, spray foam insulation, pretty much everything there is to do in a house except for what Mike does.
Yeah, my name is Michael Davenport. My partner and I, Barry Taylor, own CVP Windows and Doors. We are the only window manufacturer in the Hampton Roads market. A lot of people say they are, but they're not. We are those guys, and we make them right here in Newport News, Virginia. We'd love for you to come visit our plant. You need to schedule a tour. You can do that by calling 757-887-3194. And we'll be glad to meet you there because it is a facility where we have work ongoing. We have a platform we can visually look at everything we have going on in our 43,000 square foot facility where we make the windows. And we're also the proud authorized distributors of Provia doors. It's an extremely high quality door, and it'll be the only door you'd ever need. It would be it. And I'd like to also introduce Jack Keller. Jack is with Legacy Paint. He's a young buck on the team. He's only 26, 27 years old.
25.
25?
He's 25.
How did he rescind?
I know. He's 25
but
he's
got like 9 men now.
Yep, I think he just hired his 10th
and
guy. Yep.
he is really good at what he does. I have recommended him on 5 different occasions. People have loved his work. They like him. They like his people. And so he really has it going. So you need to give him a shot if you got something to be painted.
Yeah, so my name is Albin. I'm with Albin Co. We specialize in remodels, kitchens, baths, additions. We also do fire restorations, tiny jobs too, like, reflooring an entire house or something like that, or even doing guts where we just completely can change out the way your house may look. I'd like to also introduce Cindy Raw with Alpha Pest Solutions. She is fantastic at and very responsive at calling you back and figuring out what it is that you need from her in combating pests, termite, moisture damage, that kind of stuff. So, her motto is she's the only woman in the 757 market that has a license to kill.
True.
So, yeah. So call in. Chuck, you don't mind? I'm going to tell, got a little trivia here.
Perfect.
So this is kind of Chuck's alley. So he's going to know right away where I'm getting to on this. But when you're doing exhaust for dryer vents, 1 elbow is equivalent to how many feet of straight pipe? 1 elbow in a turn in the ductwork is equivalent to how many feet of straight pipe in that same run?
And I got also one that I'd like to mention to you. When windows, double pane windows are made, there's a gas of some type that goes between those 2 panes of glass. And there are 4 different kinds of gas that can go in there. And would you be willing to give us 3 of those types of gas to win the trivia
Chuck,
question?
you can't answer.
Or
You're not
even
allowed to
one.
answer. Yeah.
How about just one?
Well, I wanted to
All right.
challenge it. Hey,
If you get one of
one
the
is
3,
really simple.
A blind man with a dog leading the way can get that one. But you're going to get a coffee card.
So-
no
and
matter
our
what.
sponsor for
And-
coffee is Column 15. So you would get a free coffee, any coffee.
Yeah, and they got a couple
free.
locations, right,
We
Chuck?
do. We got one in Williamsburg and one down in Newport News at the Mariners Museum. So they are
Call in and try them out.
Yep, absolutely. So that number again, 627-7979. Call in. We got some trivia questions. Actually, we got 2 trivia questions. So I had one, but I'm gonna go. I think 2's enough. And then so call in any questions about answering the trivia question, and then the I'm trying to think of the sponsor on the other side. I am still looking for a coffee sponsor on the south side. So if anybody has any relationships with anybody on the south side with coffee,
Joe Jacks is a good one in the Churchland area.
is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
My sister
Well, anyway,
thinks
if anybody
it is
knows
anyway.
anybody, tell them to call the show at 955-9415. They can text me. That's my number. You can call 757-955-9415. You can ask any questions about the show. If your voice is too shy, you can text that number. I got it sitting right here on the show. If anybody's looking at Facebook Live, here's the phone. Got my cell phone right next to it, 757-955-9415. Text, call, leave a voicemail. We can answer any questions in any way that you send them to me. I do have one that somebody had texted to me this week. So we've got a couple ones that we could go over, but we are looking for people to call in live because I think people get more out of it when customers actually call in. So
they definitely
627-7979. Go ahead, Alvin.
So look, so no problem. So a couple weeks ago, or maybe it was in last week, we had somebody call in that they were kind of a new home buyer. It was their first house. He had some issues with some lines getting clogged up, and he was trying to figure out some questions, that I was like, hey, we never really covered this about new home buyers, educating new buyers, new home buyers, or somebody that's their first house, issues that would arise that would cause them to start to wonder, say, I never thought about it. I don't know where the cutoff is. I don't know what's my responsibility. I don't, how do I turn the water off to my house? Those type things. And I think that'd be a great topic for us to hit on, is to say, okay, where is that line of demarcation between what you are responsible for and what the
he did
what the
clarify.
city is responsible for. So one of the things is the water line will come from the city if you're on city water, and go through a meter. Obviously that's how they get paid. They're going to figure out how much water you're using through that meter. So from the meter to your house is typically your responsibility. So if for some reason your water bill is really high, you don't know what's going on, it's most likely on your side of the meter. You're going to want to look for maybe a wet spot in between the house and the meter. See if there's any grass that seems to be growing like super fast.
Super green.
Yeah, super green, that kind of stuff. Check under the house. You may have a leak in the house. You may actually have a running toilet, but you can kind of track all that down and figure out what's going on there by just kind of following the path. The house is going to be talking to you, whether it be the yard talking to you, those type things, and seeing what's going on.
So
what other kinds of
a couple of
things
years ago, most of the people that do know me, I have a 5-acre farm in Yorktown, Virginia, that I bought in 2001. If I told you what I paid for it, you'll be mad. So 5 acres in the middle of Tab. It was a very high number back then, but it's a really nice number now, mortgage wise. But so anyway, I thought I was being nice. The builder was building all around us. He's building all these monster mega houses, $1 million houses all around my Clampett house of 1,500 square foot farmhouse. But so anyway, the guy was not being nice to me. He's kind of being a jerk, and he was building all around me and tearing up my road and all this stuff. So anyway, we weren't really friends, but I'm like, I want to do the right thing. I saw this big pile of water, and I'm talking like ducks were in it. Like it was a big pond of water. So I was like, he probably doesn't know, because he's not coming up and down my road every day. He probably doesn't know he's got a water leak. So I don't know, 3 weeks go by, 2 weeks go by. I call him, leave him a message, doesn't call me back. I leave him another message. I'm like, all right, well, up here, I tried to do the right thing. And so did that. And then I got my $3,000 water bill. And I'm like, oh. So down my path to my house is a little dirt road that it's just me on the road. So it's all mine. So I have to maintenance it. So old Pop Worley, who's 80, goes up and down the tractor and has fun on the tractor, smoothing out the stone driveway. Anyway, we get out there and we're digging around, and Pop helps me find with the backhoe. We have a water leak. But it turned out my 700-800 feet of dirt road, it was like 15 foot to the right of it. So I'm like, it can't be mine, right? It was all the way from the street. So we had, and it was like, was it galvanized steel? It
most likely was. Yeah,
it was galvanized steel. So it had been there since 1936 when they built the house.
You know any good plumbers that can fix that? I do
know a good plumber, but that was really before we had a full-time plumbing. So me and Pop, and some of y'all may remember old Ralph. He had Ralph's Plumbing, and you probably remember Ralph.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, Ralph is just an amazing guy. When he gave up his company back in the early mid 2000s or whatever, he's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I ended up, well, just come to work for me. So that's how I got into plumbing, was I hired Ralph. But Ralph and my dad on the backhoe and tractor were digging that thing up. They were having a blast out there. I'm like, I don't know why I'm paying him, because he's having more fun than my dad. So anyway, yeah, he worked for us for a couple of years, and I miss old Ralph. He was a good man. Anybody that knew Ralph, I think his last name was Yates, but just a beautiful guy, wonderful guy.
If you see a
pond of water or leaking water in somebody's yard, you probably they'll probably notice it, but it might be yours depending on how the water is routed. So I want to remind you guys, 627-7979. Call in with any questions. Do not wait till the last minute. We want to answer your questions. We don't act like when you're not calling in that the problems in your house are going to go away.
All right. So back to the meter thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
So educating those people that just now maybe bought a house, the meter's going to be up underneath the metal little plate out by the road. Sometimes it's covered with grass. Sometimes it can be buried. They're nasty little spots because, critters like to live in there and all that stuff. But you can get that lit up. You can either, with a wrench, you usually can turn it off. And we were trying to help this guy out. We were talking to him about how we can discover whether there's a leak or not. So one way you can discover whether or not you have a leak within your side of the line is have everything off in the house, communicate with everybody in your house to leave everything off, and go out and watch that meter. If the meter's spinning, then you most likely have a leak. So it's just a simple way of saying, okay, let me just do this check because I feel like my bill's high. You can go out there and look at that meter. So a really simple way of checking, see what's going on there. You guys have any other pointers on it?
That is the easiest way to do it, or what ways to tell people. A friend of mine had the same problem. I said, take the family and go to see a movie on a Saturday afternoon. Turn everything off. Everything.
Write down the meter.
Movie, write down the meter readings, and then come back before anybody goes in the house to check that meter reading. And in 2.5 hours, that thing's moved. You got a problem. Then it's up to you to find it because it's on your side.
Yeah.
And that's your water because their water was on the other side, and you're going to be paying for it. And I had a friend one time, it's been 30 years ago. He moved into a new house, and all of a sudden he started getting these jacked up water bills after about a year. And so I went over there and I did that with him. And we turned everything off, and man, that thing was still spinning. And his water line went in the foundation. The plumber is supposed to put a sealant around that to seal that so there's not transmitting of anything from the outside to the underside of the foundation. He didn't do that. A tree root followed the dampness of the line up into the crawl space. The pressure of the tree root growing crushed the line against the foundation jagged edge and put a split in it. And he had the first water bed on the block, I think, inside of his foundation. Because the plastic was in there, you could tell it was floating on the bed of water. So he had a problem. He had to get it cleaned out. He had to get it pumped out. Had to get the hole fixed. And he had a water bill that the city of Newport News did cut him some slack.
Nice.
When he proved that what was going on, they went back and took an average of what the water line or what the water consumption would have been, and they did work with him on a credit. But
yeah, they
always
did the same.
Well, was that a check? Yes, I was going to ask that. Okay, great. So they gave you a little bit of
they gave
grace on that. Okay,
yeah, they did.
Yeah.
So one other thing to consider on checking things out is okay. So let's say you come back from the movies and the meter is moved. What's the next step? You don't want to replace all the lines. I think we're going to be going to break here soon, but just to finish out and maybe put a little bit of thought in your head. But hey, don't forget, call in 627-7979. That's 757-627-7979. And I'll come back with that question after.
Yeah, we're going to break. Yep. Thank you. Hey, this is Chuck Worley with the 757 House Whisperer Show, coming to you live every Wednesday night from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m., answering your questions and problems with your house. Call in, ask any questions, 627-7979. Ask any questions about your house, about your problems. Not only are you going to be getting answers to your problems, but you're going to be helping other listeners on the show with similar problems with their house. And it's anything from the crawl space all the way up to the top of the house. So give us a call, 627-7979. Our phone number, if you're too shy to call, is 757-955-9415. You can text in, call in, leave a message while we're on the show. But yeah, we have open lines. We got open lines, right? Open lines. So call in to the show. I'm going to introduce myself while we're waiting for you guys to call in. I am Chuck Worley. with Worley's Home Services. We do heating and air conditioning, electrical, plumbing, crawl space encapsulations, spray foam insulation, and y'all can introduce everybody else.
Yeah, I'm Michael Davenport. I'm with CVP Windows and Doors. My partner, Barry Taylor, and I own the only window manufacturing business in Hampton Roads area. We make the windows right here in Newport News. We make the product specifically to fit in your home and the requirements that your home has. We also do Therma-Tru exterior doors. And most recently, we're the only authorized dealer for Provia doors in the Hampton Roads area. And we're proud to say that.
So it's not your next door. What's their tagline?
Is your door, is this going to be your last door, your next door, or your last door? But when you buy a Provia door, it is very, very impressive. It's extremely nice door. And I'd like to also introduce Jack Keller. Jack has his company as Legacy Paint. They are right here on the peninsula as well, although he, like ourselves, he works all of Hampton Roads. And he has about 9 guys on his team. They are very, very good. When I started recommending him, he had 4 guys on his team. 5 times he has gone to do work for people I've recommended. He does an excellent job. Some of the people have been astounded that such a young guy could know so much about painting. And he has satisfied everyone with both his work, and he's a very fair price.
So my name is Albin with Albin Co. We specialize in remodels. Right now, doing a lot of kitchens this season for it, and we're excited about each one of them. We just love to build. Cindy with Alpha Pest Solutions, she's not here today, but she is great at pest control. She's going to help you out in any way that she can. She can inspect your crawl space, look for those nasty insect tunnels, and take care of you when it comes to termite treatment. And also she'll go in there and check the moisture content of your floor system, and also the moisture levels underneath the crawl space. And she does a fantastic job. Again, that's Cindy with Alpha Pest Solutions. So the trivia question today, would love to hear somebody on this. So when you're doing a duct system for a dryer, you can have a certain amount of elbows, a certain amount of straight pipes. They all have to add up to, what is it, Chuck? I think it's 30 feet. Is that the number?
35.
35 feet.
35 feet.
So, and that's just straight pipe. If it is exactly straight, no elbows, no anything, 35 feet. Now, the question is, when you introduce an elbow, how many
linear feet?
You got 35 linear feet. One elbow equals the equivalent of how many linear feet of straight pipe. So in other words, when you're doing the math, you're trying to figure out 35 feet, an elbow is going to subtract from that 35 feet. So the number's going to come down. So if you're going under your house and you're looking and you're underneath there and you see like 10 elbows, there's
from
math.
one end of the house to the other.
Yeah, one end of the house to the other with 10 elbows. There's something wrong.
Yeah,
so we can help you with that. So you calling in, asking the question, we can kind of educate you.
I mean, you'll know
your stuff is right or wrong. Why your dryer's running, you got to run it 3 times.
Yeah, while your clothes
aren't
getting hot.
It's like, what is going on? So we can help you with that. Call in. Let's see if we can't get that question answered. Remember, if you try to answer this question, it's going to be for everybody. Yeah. We're going to help you out.
You got to remember one thing about that dryer vent too. You need to clean it monthly if you use it at all, because your dryer is not going to trap all the lint. You need to remember that if you have a dryer vent that's added or replaced, you got to make sure the guy knows what he's doing, because you can't use self-tapping screws to hold the pipes together, because a self-tapping screw goes into the vent and lint catches on the vent. That'll be a point of clogging. You got to make sure that none of those things occur, because dryer vent fires happen a lot.
Yeah, we actually we know somebody in the insurance business that actually had a dryer like
In
I
his
think
own
a fire
place?
from that. Yeah, so I don't want to mention any names, but yeah,
and it was his business. He had an insurance
we
company, and it burned
yeah,
his
it was
house down.
unfortunate situation.
Yeah.
But hey, the reality is,
It happens.
it happens. It happens to even
Yeah.
us. So we know some of the answers to some of these questions because we ourselves have experienced it.
Yeah, so
You-
there's
you get
actually more fires from dryer vents than there is fireplaces.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I mean,
And-
think about that. You have something with fire in it, and there's less fire breakouts or house fires from fires. They're more duct
Related.
exhaust, a dryer.
And that's
vents
probably
cause
increased
more
as the dryers become more efficient too. So they're probably getting hotter. They can really push out the heat. You're going to get some fires there. So
It's a good
it's
trivia question.
So on the new home side of things, we've been talking about meters, but we haven't talked about some other things that you need to be educated on, that you need to be checking for. Is you start smelling any kind of smells in your house. Chuck's hit on this a lot in the winter. We're going to be coming up on winter, so we might as well just maybe we can just open that can of worms up. But there's certain smells you just shouldn't be smelling in the house. Now, the gas companies add some type of odor. To the actual gas,
because you can't smell the gas.
to help us out, to kind of as a first defense. So, you need to be aware of that, and there's ways you can check that. But it's Chuck knows the statistics. What is the kind of statistics on people like dying from that kind of stuff or being poisoned by it? I know the numbers are high.
It's more carbon monoxide.
Okay, but that's probably not the same thing. But
so that the gas releasing, then you have flames. And
yeah.
That's when that's what happens.
But
on the gas.
there is that possibility that you got a leak in your house and you're smelling it and you get a headache or things like that. But then you still have the other thing like carbon monoxide, which is also a big issue. So the gas and carbon monoxide sensors are something we highly recommend. Chuck, what is the type of sensor you would recommend for that situation?
Carbon monoxide monitor, not sensors, not detectors, monitors. And that actually gives the parts per million right on the screen. It actually pops
Nothing like
35.
peace of mind just to spend
even if it's 20 parts per million. A fireman cannot walk into your house without a mask above 35 parts per million. So that can be like off gases off of one of the units, and then the windows open, the doors open, and it dissipates. But, when it's in the hundreds, and it's really bad. But that's like cracked heat exchangers and dangerous stuff happening. So let's go over the trivia questions again. Need people to call in 627-7979 to ask any questions about your house. We are here for you guys to answer any questions about problems in your house.
Yeah, so one of the questions is simple one, or should I say simply put, one elbow is equivalent to how many linear feet of straight pipe for your exhaust system for your dryer vent?
And then another question is, there are 4 different types of gas that are used in insulated glass windows. Name one of those 4 different types of glass or gas. And also tell us which one is the least expensive and which one might be the most expensive, if you know that.
And then we'll throw one other one in there. Call in and see if you can name everybody that's on the show. So
that's a good one.
Yeah, call in.
That's a good one.
Give us the names of everybody on the show. You get a coffee, whether you get it right
I think
or wrong.
that might be worth a $25 gift card.
All right.
They can call in.
Here comes money back.
No, I think that's a great trivia question. If they can name everybody on the show.
I think
first name and company name.
At least first name and company name. You don't have to know our zip code or our social security number. Just our first name and the name of the company. I think that's we ought to do that one every week.
Yeah, I'll tell you something I'd like to maybe pique somebody's interest in. We now no longer have a toll at the Coleman Bridge.
Oh, that's great.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you think the state?
I
Yeah,
did
you
not
didn't know?
You
know
didn't know
that.
that? It just happened last
No.
week.
He's been living in a cave.
Well, he's in the JRB. He's a Smithfield guy.
Yeah, it's exciting. I like to go
on.
over there. I like to go over there and fish. So that's pretty exciting.
Friday the 8th at 8:00.
I get more money for my
last
my lures and stuff now.
Yeah, you do. And so they're not charging us a toll anymore. And they won't say how many times over they paid for that thing. And it's a very nice bridge. Better if you remember the old Coleman Bridge was a death trap with 2 lanes. People, many head-on crashes occurring.
Really?
Oh yeah, I remember one day I sat on a bridge for 4 hours before they finally got it cleaned up, and you couldn't get off.
Well, you could jump.
You could, yeah, maybe. But so that'd be an interesting topic if somebody wants to vent a little bit about how that occurred. It won't help fix your house, but it help you get some talking going.
Yeah. And what about it? Won't help you on the south side.
No, it won't.
In fact, they probably increased the south side tolls to make up for the Gloucester tolls going away.
Well, one other thing we can hit on is water hammering in a house. Is a new homeowner, you might hear some clanking when you turn on the water and stuff like that. This thing we call water hammering, and that could happen whether you're on a well or whether you're on the city. Code requires you to have an expansion tank. I definitely know you need one if you're on city. I'm not entirely sure if you need one on well because you do have an expansion tank already.
Yeah, already.
You do? Okay, so Chuck's saying, yes, you do need one. So in any case, yeah, it's a good idea anyways. But the purpose.
I would say if you've replaced your water heater in the last couple of years and you don't have one on there, the permit was probably not pulled.
Yeah. So Chuck's alluding, it's usually around that area. You're going to see it most of the time. And I don't even know if it's required to be above the tank, but they're there most of the time. Is the expansion tank is going to look like maybe the size of 2 milk jugs put together, somewhere in that size, maybe like a 3-gallon tank or something like that. Right. It's got a bladder in it. And what happens is as you're turning the water on and off, your water's accelerating through the pipes. And Chuck, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but it accelerates through the pipes. And as it does, and you turn off that water's just kind of move in the pipe and create this kind of hammer effect. It could also be air in the lines too, correct?
With the ballast inside that tank kind of stops that from hammering.
Yeah. So the ballast is going to help that out. So
it's like your diaphragm and your.
Chuck can help you guys out with that. If you're getting any water hammering, call him in. He'll kind of get you the new, analyze everything in your house, figure out what else you might need, but definitely get you the expansion tank that could be missing off the top of the water.
We've only got a few minutes left. Let's go over that trivia question. You want me to do it?
Yeah. Why don't we just do the math on that? Yeah. Maybe help people out.
So basically 35 linear feet, which is you stretch out a pipe. It's 35 linear feet. By adding 1 elbow, you can actually drop it down to 30 feet and 1 elbow. So because a elbow, the linear feet of a stretched out 90-degree elbow is 5 linear feet.
It's not a 5-foot elbow.
It's not a 5-foot elbow. That's
too.
Yeah. So a 90-degree elbow in a exhaust pipe for a dryer adds 5 linear feet to it. So that means 35 foot is your max. So that means
7 elbows would be all you could put in if they were all connected together.
3 foot.
So
I can't do. Yeah, it'd be a crooked mess. But hey, have we seen it?
Yeah. Actually, what I've seen is 7 elbows with 30 feet of pipe, which is completely incorrect. It's like zigzagging through the house. So
I have seen some.
I used to do compliance inspections for the federal government, VA, and I saw one day where the guy he had to run a long pipe, so he had the bright idea of running it up through the roof, and then he put a cage on the end of it because he didn't want a bird going down through the roof. And so when I go out to do the inspection, the final inspection for the government, I was looking up there at that roof, and I said, that's kind of weird. Is that a bath fan or what's it, that exit? And the guy's telling me that it's the exit for the dryer. I said, boy, that's a bad idea. He said, well, how do you figure? I said, because that is going to catch lint, and then it's going to clog up, and then it's not going to dry to close, and it's going to be a hazard, fire hazard. And he got the guy to believe it. And it wasn't long after that, I'm riding up the road and I see guys up on the roof doing the repair and getting things straight. You got to have somebody who knows what they're doing when they do these things in your house. Everybody, or most everybody, has good intentions, but you have to have knowledge along with good intentions to make a quality job. And that's what we're all about sitting here.
All right. So
on
the
glass.
glass.
Let's go over to glass trivia.
I think Chuck had an answer. What was your answer?
Argon gas is what I was always told.
Yeah. Is that the most expensive, least expensive? Where is it?
I would think
middle.
It's old.
I'd say it's middle.
I'd say middle. There's got to be something.
Air is going to be your least expensive one.
Yeah.
Argon.
Air is free because if you break one side of it, air gets in it.
Yeah, that's
on
right.
2 panes, if you break one side, the air gets inside of it.
It does.
So,
and in the old days, I'm sure they probably didn't have anything but air because it's so new.
it's true.
But argon is the least expensive of the gases, krypton and then xenon. But you don't find those
like
last
Superman?
two. No, Superman. He gave up on all that.
No,
yeah.
krypton.
Yeah. If he was real, he'd probably have a problem.
So the one that's going to stump us all is the actual names of everybody that's on the show. I don't know if we'll be able to get that ourselves, will we?
Yeah. No, I got a list.
Yeah, that would be cheating, though.
So that's
we could cheat. We could ask Damien, see if he knows.
see if he can do it. Come on, no, we're gonna test you.
he's
Of course,
We're
I can
gonna
do it.
test you.
He
No,
doesn't
you
want to
gotta
be put
tell
on the
us.
spot like that, huh?
He's
Well, I mean,
nervous.
it's not a big deal. Everybody who's on the show right now.
Yeah.
Is that what the question is?
No, you gotta guess. It's everybody.
All right. So we've got Michael Davenport in the studio right now. We've got Chuck Worley, yourself, with Worley's Home Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical. I mentioned Michael Davenport. He does custom windows with CVP, custom windows, vinyl windows, custom, whatever size you need, up to 1/8 of an inch, custom made for you, as well as Albin. We have Albin with Albin Co. Albin Company is your rebuilding specialist. He can do all sorts of things for you. He's done stairs for me and, a shed, a couple different jobs there. Great big jobs, small jobs, high quality jobs, $1 million homes. It's all doable. We've got Cindy Rowell with Alpha Pest Solutions out of Suffolk, but she does all of Hampton Roads. She's the only woman with a license to kill. So that's pest control.
Killing it.
We have Jack.
I think
Hey,
Mike
Fitzpatrick.
Fitzpatrick.
He's got one
Mike
more.
Fitzpatrick's sitting.
Oh,
him
Fitzgerald's
in-
not even here tonight. We've got Rio as the call screener tonight, and when we can't forget Jack with Legacy Painting, and he's the young buck who's got I think 10 employees or so by now, and he can do your remodeling with your drywall and any paint issues you might have, high and low, outside and
You're
inside.
impressed.
Nice.
It only
Good
took what?
job.
No
18
notes.
months of a
Now, does
shit.
Yeah,
he get
that's
the
true.
$25 gift card?
He does.
I know I get free coffee, right?
You do.
I just got to pour it and make it myself out in the other room.
He broke one rule. He didn't call in.
That's
So-
true.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I'm remiss because my buddy Bill, that used to be at Bank of America, listens to our show every night, and I'm gonna bust your chops at breakfast on Saturday morning over
He
at
didn't call
Eggheads.
in. He didn't call in.
Yeah, I keep
He
telling him
knows.
every week, call in with a question, man. He listens to the show religiously because he likes the conversation.
Well, it sounds like we already got our introduction right there. He knocked it out of the park with that. So,
He did.
but one thing I did want to mention was, Michael, I don't know if you know this, but we do have a customer. We're probably going to get one of the Provia doors. So we're pretty excited
Hey.
about that. And he's picking a nice one. So yeah,
Well,
I'm excited. I'm excited
Tell us, y'all just
to
started
install that,
relationship.
I sold one in Virginia Beach to a lady. She's 50 years a school teacher at First Colonial. That was Hope. And she's excited about getting that door. The door has so many features that are not common on other doors. And we just got one in today. The steel that the doors are made with is a much, much higher quality than what everyone else offers. And this door has a skin applied. If you didn't know it from the street, you would think it was an oak door.
Really?
It's absolutely amazing.
And it's metal?
And it's metal.
Mm.
I mean, it is absolutely amazing.
Very exciting product. So we're
Oh,
excited
yeah.
to get our hands on that, install that. So yeah.
I've got a question for you guys.
Okay.
Since we have a hurricane off the coast, And some people are going to have coastal flooding issues, maybe a couple trees down, maybe some wind issues with some roof damage as well. What would you guys say are some things people need to, when is the most important time to really do an assessment, before the storm or after the storm? And what things should people look at and keep an eye open when we're going to have maybe hypothetically, the strongest storm of the season? Where should you take your time and do a little investigating in your own
first off,
home?
make sure you got the proper insurance,
Well, it's too late now.
It's too late now, but if we're
days
talking
ahead.
about it, you obviously can't call up and get insurance right now. But when the storms pass, definitely make sure.
Oh, yeah.
Get yourself covered that way. Definitely take pictures pre and definitely take pictures post. Do both.
And
So
I'd recommend, if you're in an area that has trees, like I got some trees, I've taken down 16 trees in the last.
that many trees
I
taken
did,
down?
man. I've done leaves. I got 4 down the left-hand side of the front, and I got 2 in the backyard and right behind the house, and 2 on the right corner of the property.
You got more trees than I do, and I got 5 acres.
I know, but yours was a farm. Mine never was a farm.
ours was a farm.
debris.
But
Take
I was
care of the
thinking
debris. You know,
I'd nail down the hatches.
you got
Anything in the backyard,
outdoor-
get out of the
outdoor
backyard.
landscaping. You
Tied
got lawn chairs, maybe a table, an umbrella. You need to get all that stuff laid
Tied up.
down, tied up, in the nice little cozy section. Put your cars in safe spots. Sometimes, if you do have a lot of trees, maybe park it in the middle of a parking lot somewhere where it's safe, out of
Food
harm's way. And you can carpool back with the neighbors, or carpool back, if you have multiple cars, put one in the garage, put the other ones down the road. That way you're not locked in without a vehicle.
That heavy glass table that's back there by your pool, please move it to your
if you
garage.
start to
take the legs off of it.
you start to get nervous, fill your bathtub up with water. You want to have fresh water, not only for drinking, but also for washing and stuff like that. We really don't know what kind of stuff. I'm sorry, you cannot hoard the internet. So it's going to either go down or it's not going to go down.
No,
So-
exactly.
but you can hoard the water. So
One thing to remember is, if you have a 2-story house and you got a tree, do yourself a favor, sleep on the couch, whatever, get away from it, because the tree falls on the
That's a
house.
great
It
word
cuts
of
it in
advice.
2 from the top down.
Mm.
And you got more
that's a great
protection, because normally they don't go all the way
I
through.
did have somebody, a friend of mine was telling me about a buddy of his. A friend of mine was telling me about a buddy of his that storm was coming. He waited to the last minute, got home late from work. It was like 6, 7 o'clock at night. He's running in, the storm's coming in, wind's blowing like crazy. And he took all of his furniture around his pool and threw it into his pool.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's not going to blow away.
I was like, that was genius. Like, it's going to suck pulling it out if it's heavy, but I just thought that was it. So if you do get behind, I'm not recommending this, but if you're in a hurry, throw it in your pool. Like it will stop the wind from blowing. So we got about a minute left. I'm going to introduce ourselves on the way out. I'm Chuck Worley with Worley's Home Services. Go ahead.
Michael Davenport, CVP Windows and Doors. My partner, Barry Taylor, and I are the only manufacturer in Hampton Roads. If you want somebody local, go to us.
And my name is Albin with Albin Co. I specialize in remodels. And then we have Cindy with Alpha Pest Solutions.
And Jack Keller with Legacy Paint, the only guy in town that we recommend.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for joining the show, the
Y'all have a good
757housewhisperer.com.
Stay safe.
Thank
Don't
you,
go in
guys.
the water.
Yeah.
The preceding program was sponsored and paid for by Worley Home Services, who's entirely responsible for its content.